Okay, so today we will do everything on the terminal, and we will go through all the main categories of commands systematically. So the first thing what we have to learn is how to navigate within the command line. So what we will do now is actually what you should do in your Windows Explorer, in your Finder, in your Total Commander, or any kind of graphical user interface when you are just wandering around on your computer, double-clicking on folders, going back with the back arrow. This is the very first thing we have to learn on command line. And for this, we will only need 3 main commands. So we have to know how to make a folder, how to delete a folder, how to go into the folder, and how to come out, or how to go into a different folder. I think it's good if you are in your home directory, then you should make now a temporary directory when we can work in. So the command we will use is mkdir, which is make directory. And then we will put a name, which should be like, let's say, course temp. I'm sure you don't have any folders like this yet in your home directory. So if you just simply say mkdir course temp, that is making a directory. Removing the directory is very simple. It's rm-dir. So remove the dir course, and as we already saw last time, you don't have to write completely the name of the thing you want to delete, just the beginning, and then push the tab, and it will autocomplete. If we remove it, it's not there anymore. We don't have to remake it again, just go up with the up arrow twice and redo it. So this is how you make a directory. This is the like right click and create new folder, and then of course deleting the folder. If we want to go in the folder from where we are using the cd, and this is the third very simple command, change directory, and we are going into the course temp. Again, I just write the beginning and then push tab, and we are in that directory. This is very simple like that. It's always good to know where we are, and this is the next command. When we are saying pwd, which is, I think it's printing the working directory, so printing where we are. And then you will see that I am actually in the user's main directory, my own home directory, and within that I'm in the course temp directory. It is working exactly the same way on any kind of computer. So if I'm doing the same thing on a Linux, it's showing exactly the same. If I'm saying pwd, of course, I'm a bit in a different place because I'm a different user on that computer, but it's also usually in the home directory. On a Mac, the home directories are in the users folder usually, and I also have the HPC opened. So if I'm making a directory here, and go into the directory and say pwd, it's a bit slow now. Then you can see that I'm in my home directory again. Of course, you may want to go back. I have a question. Yes, I will. So I have to adjust the size of the window. Is this enough?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try to make the other windows the same. On the Mac, by the way, using Command and Plus you can increase your text size. Okay, just a minute. I will make this one a bit bigger as well. Right. Maybe I will just readjust the defaults next time. Okay. So what is happening if we want to go back? I will just put the chat here. If we want to go back up the directory, we are just saying cd ... That means that we are going up. And we are, if I'm saying pwd now, as you see, we went back to my own home directory. So this is always going back. You can also go back 2 directories if you want, or 2 folders. So if I'm going back to my course temp folder and I'm saying cd ... /... which means that up and then up again, then I'm in the users directory now. So from the course temp directory, I went up to, and I'm in the users directory now. So I'm going back now, and there is a trick. If you are jumping between 2 folders, you can just use the cd minus. So I went back to users, cd minus, I went back to course temp. So if this can happen if you, for example, writing your script or running your program in a folder where you would like to put your outputs, but you also want to check your input a bit often, and instead of writing in the full path, which I will describe very soon, you just jump between these folders easily with the cd minus. Of course, it's just working with the last 2 folders you were in, not more. Okay, now let's go forward from the folders to files. There is a command which we used on Tuesday as well, the command touch, which is therefore creating files. You don't really have to learn this because you will never use this. You will never just create an empty file. You will create a file as an output of a program, or you will copy your file to your server and work on it. But now, because we don't have anything at the moment in our folder, we will just make a completely empty file. So we can make test1. You don't have to use extension, but if you want, you can. If you use extension, you can. It's a bit easier to know what is in that file. So now we have this file, and we can see it by using the ls command. That was the listing of the things you have in your directory. So if I go up again with one folder and say ls here, then you can see all of my folders in my home directory where I have the course temp folder. In a Linux environment, you usually have this colored. So if you say ls here, then you have your folders in blue, you have your files in white, or if you have a white terminal, then it will be black, I think. And you have your executable files with green, the same thing in, oh my God, this is so slow. Oh yeah, the HPC is again slow because someone is running a Python script, as you can see on the HPC login node, which is completely bad, wrong thing. That's why my terminal is a bit slow. But anyway, if I'm going up, there is nothing in my folder at the moment. But if I go up, you can see it's a bit different colored, but blues are the folders and whites for files. Okay, so we are going back to our course temp folder. Here we are. We have one file, If you want to know more about the file, ls-l. So it's the same listing, but we are giving the -l flag, which will give us more information. This will be, again, the permission settings of the file. We spoke about that last time, but just a quick reminder, the first 3 letters are showing what are my permissions as an owner. I'm the owner of the file and the creator. The second 3 is showing the permission patterns for the group, which is in this case, this CD number. And the third 3 letters are showing the permission pattern for everyone else. So in this file, I have a read and write permission. My group has a reading permission and everyone else has a reading permission. So everyone would be able to read if they log into my computer, would be able to read this file, which is actually a completely empty file. How we can copy a file? Very easy and intuitive. It's like cp, like copy. You have to give the thing what you want to copy, which is test1, and you have to give the file name you want to copy it into. The group is usually associated to you on a server. In default, if you create a new user on a Linux or Unix machine, then there will be a group created for that user. So usually, if you are just using like your laptop or using an in-house server, the groups are not that important. It will be much more important as soon as you try to work with someone else together. Then you can ask the admin to create a group for 2 of you. You can be a member of any groups you want. I think we saw that last time. So if you say ID, then you can see how many groups, for example, I'm in. As the LK397, I'm in this group, in this group, in this one. So all these things which are separated by commas, I am in. And if you want to work with someone, together with someone else, you just simply create a group, or you cannot. The administrator can create a group on the server, and they will put, or he or she will put you in to that group. And from that moment, you can work together. The problem is, when you create a file, it can only have one group owner only here. So if you, and then it is always your first group on the list. So if you want to make it available for someone else, for example, let's say that I would like to make this test1 available for the App Store. Let's try. I'm not sure I can do it, but I will try. Then you just have to say ch group or chgrp, saying what is the group. Let's try with 33, which is the group App Store, and then the file name, which is test1. And it seems it's working. Yes. So if now I'm saying ls-l, as you see, the owner remains me, myself, but the group ID changed for a file. There should be only one. You cannot associate one file to more than one group, I think. Okay, so this is how you can change the group. I think I will just change it back just to be sure. On the Mac, it's working. Just to highlight it, Command C, go back here, Command V, copy and paste. In the same way, you can change the owner of a file, but that's very rare. You want to change an owner, but you can use ch own. And the same kind of thing, you have to give the owner ID or the owner name or the ID number, and then the file name, but there is no point at the moment to change any ownerships. So going back to CP, I will copy test1 to test2. Very simple. And now we have two files in the folder, test1 and test2. There is a very important thing with copy. Let's find a file which is not mine, but I can at least read. Usually if you go to, okay, let's go up, and go up again, and go up again. So now, as you can see, we are in the root folder of my computer. There are a few folders here you shouldn't go into and you shouldn't touch. But for example, in var folder, there aren't too many very sensitive files. I think these are all folders here. Yes. Look for the log. So now I'm in this folder /var/log. If you want to go here directly, okay, let's go back to my home directory, which is cd. This is not the course temp. This is my home directory. The cd command without any folders, any dots, will just put you back in your home. If I want to go to this /var/log, folder, I can just simply say cd /var/log, and I am there. Or I can also, so this is when we are using the absolute path. So the absolute path of this folder is starting from the root with a slash. It's in the var main folder and in the log subfolder. But if I go back to my home directory, I can also use a relative path. So I am again in my users LK397. So I have to go up to and then go to var/log. So what I can do is going up one, going up two, and then say var/log. This is a relative path. So this was an absolute path, which in your computer will be always the same. And this is the relative path, which is always different. It depends on where you are. If I'm in my course temp, which is within my home directory, I have to go up 3 and then go to /var/log. So if I try to find a file here, okay, it's not too easy. As you see, it's not too easy to find a file which I can actually read. These are all root and admin user and group files, which I'm not a root, I'm not the super user, and I'm not the member of the admin group. So I cannot do anything with these files where I am an other user and have no rights absolutely on these files. But I actually have on this weekly out. I don't know what is that, but it will be okay for us. So let's copy this weekly out to my course temp. If you don't have this on Linux, let's see what we have on the Linux. You have this. Okay, the syslog is okay, it's quite big. Okay, let's go with the user log is not, the syslog is not okay actually. The last log is readable to everyone. So I will copy the last log here. No, you can't copy. I will rename with my Mac. So I will copy, I'm in this /var/log, so I just have to give the file name, which was the weekly Again, I just say we and then press tab. And now I have to say where do I want to copy. I don't want to copy here and just duplicate it here. I want to copy it to my course temp folder. So I can do two things again. I can give the absolute path, which was /users lk397 course temp, or I can go up to, because I'm in the second subfolder, and do it like this. But of course, there is no point to write more than we have to. So in this case, I will just copy the file in my course temp folder. So the thing which I would like to point here, if you look at the weekly out in this folder where it was, as you see, it has the root as the owner and the wheel as the group. It's not important why it is wheel at the moment. If I say ls-l per users per lk, so the folder where I copied it, I don't have to be in that folder to list the contents of the folder. You can always list the content of a folder from anywhere. You just have to give the path to that folder. So now it interestingly changed because I read the file and I put it somewhere else. I became the owner of the new file and my primary group became the group owner of the file. This is extremely important because as soon as you copy something, you will change the ownerships as well. There is a way to preserve these. I don't think I will be able to do it. Let me just remove the file, which is the rm command. I will try not to remove my whole home directory, just the weekly out. This is how you can remove a file from anywhere. Again, this is the file I want to remove, but because I'm not in that directory at the moment, I'm in /var/log, I'm giving the whole path to the file. It won't delete the users folder. It won't delete the users /lk397. It won't even delete the users lk397 course temp. It will only delete the file which is at the end. And now I will try to copy. So I'm going up with the arrow, the same file, but saying -a. Oh yeah, there was one more thing which changed. The date is also changing when you copy something. So if you look at here, the weekly out was 4th of April in the morning, while the copied file was 9th of April, the time we have now. So the CP-A theoretically preserves everything, preserves the date and the ownerships as well. But I think I won't be able to do this simply because I'm, as a user, not allowed to make a file that is only, I'm not allowed to change the owner to root. The root is a very, very special user. Oh, I was. Let's see if it was done. No, it wasn't. It preserved the date with CP-A, but it wasn't able to preserve the root user, just because it's a special user. But if you want to preserve, this is actually the CP-A is very useful if you would like to do a backup from something and you want to preserve the date of that thing because you want to know where that file was created. Okay, let's go back to my home directory. Now we have 3 files in our temporary directory. I hope you have those 3 files as well. So I went back to my home with the cd command and I'm going up to the course temp directory. And again, we have this here. ls can be used in many ways. So you already saw that if I just simply say ls, I see the file names. If I say ls minus l, I see the file names and a bit more details. If I say ls minus lh or minus l minus h, it's the same. So you can just merge options or flex. The difference is that now it's human readable. It's a small file, so it looks like the same. It says that, okay, it's 270 something. We know that it's 270 bytes. If it's a much bigger file, it will show us in kilobytes or megabytes or gigabytes or terabytes, depending on the file size. You can also sort your files with the ls. So you can say ls minus lt, and the t is the time. So it will be sorted by time. Yes, the newest one is the first one, and the weekly out is actually at the bottom now, because that was copied here with cp minus a, and it is a few days already. And you can also do the reverse. R is always reversing the orders. So now the oldest file is up and the newest file is down. There are so many options in ls. I won't tell all of them, but now comes your best friend, and this is the first thing you have to remember when you are using terminal, is the man command, which is actually the abbreviation of manual. All of these built-in commands in Linux has a manual. Man ls, and you will get a long description on what this program does, what kind of flex you have, what can you do with those. And if you want to leave the manual, you just press Q. It's there for all. You can say man mk dir. This is for make directories. This is how you can use different options for making directories. So this is a very, very useful and important command in Linux. Okay, so we discussed touch to create files, cpmv. MV, no, we haven't discussed MV yet. MV is for moving files or renaming files. So if you say MV weekly out and weekly new out, then it will, so I'm moving the weekly out file to a weekly new out file. This is actually renaming here, but I can also do it with really moving it somewhere else. So I can use mv to move the file really somewhere else. Let's say that I'm moving weekly out to ... which is I'm moving this file up one. If I don't give any name here, then it will remain the same file name. If I give a name, then I'm moving and renaming it. So I can say weekly dot out. So it shouldn't be here anymore. It's not here anymore. But if I go up one, then it is here now. Let's move it back to my course temp directory. Sorry, I don't want to move my course temp directory, but I want to move my weekly out to course temp directory. Again, as you see, I'm here in my home where I have the course temp directory. But I can always use the absolute, but I can always say that, okay, I would like to move to users LK397 and course temp. It is there. But because I'm here in my folder, I only have to say, okay, I want to move it from here to the folder which is here, but I would like to move it there. So it shouldn't be here anymore. It is in the course temp nicely. Okay, so going back, for file-related commands, you will need, very rarely, you will need touch if you want to create an empty file, but you will definitely need cp for copying, cp what to where, mv for moving and renaming files, mv what to there or to what, and rm, which is removing file. You can just simply remove like test2, and now it's not there anymore. Be very, very, very careful with the rm command. It's very easy to remove a folder which contains 2 weeks of work. Of course, I haven't done it before, but I heard other people who did. Luckily,
before you go on, Leos, anybody who hasn't backed up after 2 weeks of working on a file deserves to lose their work if they use an RM or command, or RM recursive, I think it stands for.
yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So luckily, if I go up one,
so if you give any lesson, it's every day, at very least, you should back up everything that you have been working on within reason. Obviously, it's really tricky to back up gigabytes and gigabytes of sequence data.
Yeah, if you are working with on a sequence data, it's best to back up before you start working on it. So putting it into an external drive, putting it on a cold storage if you are on the HPC. I will go back to RM this question, but it's the best to back up all your raw data in the very beginning to a very safe place. I think there is a way to undelete things, but you have to know that the way how the computer works, any kind of storage device you have, if it's an SSD, a flash drive, or a traditional hard drive, as soon as you delete something, it only deletes the very first character of that file. So it will remain there, but it's actually not allocated to a file anymore. So if there is another writing on that storage device, if you put a new file, there is a very good chance that the new file will be put physically into that place where your old file was. So yes, I think there is a way that you can get back your files if you just do it immediately. I don't know if there is like an undelete command. No, maybe there should be some programs. I will check this for the next time, but it's much better to use the RM very wisely. Let me show you something. So we have the course temp folder there. What's happening if I'm trying to remove that folder? It won't do it because RM is only there for removing files. You can do it if you say rm-r, and this is even more dangerous than just the simple rm command, because this way I would be able to, or I can actually yes, thanks Marcus. This way I actually deleted the whole course temp folder. You don't have to do this. The other thing I wanted to show you is that if I put back at least a test1 file, then I think the RMDir, which we spoke about in the beginning, will not work as well. This is the RMDir is there for removing empty directories. I can imagine that there is a -R flag for RMDir as well. I'm not sure. I'm very rarely use RMDir, just simply use RM. But if it's not empty, it won't delete the folder. So it's a kind of safe way to delete folders. Yeah, so Marcus is is absolutely right that it's very important to remove files when you are working in bioinformatics because it's very easy to fill up the space. The safest way is not deleting things manually, but if you have multiple steps in your pipeline, then put in deleting steps as well, and you can think through when you are building up your pipeline that, okay, I won't need that file and that file and that file at that point, so I can automatically delete those files. It's much safer. If you write a script that is working well once, it will work well 1 million times again. But if you do something once right, it doesn't mean that you will do that right again manually every time. One last thing which came out actually a few days ago with Chioma, if you can, you shouldn't use spaces, not in folder names, not in file names. You can use it, but it's much better not to. Let me show you why. I'll bring up my Finder. It's much easier to create a file with space in the name, especially if I can bring it up here. Yeah, no special characters. So if you want to use a space, then the underline is perfect. It's a very good choice to use. It's not too easy to go to my home here. Okay, let me just make a file. So now I have this file, this test with space. First of all, as you saw, that I have to use this so-called escape character, which is a backslash, to tell the bash, to tell the command line that I don't want to use the space as it is usually used in command line, separating commands or separating options or separating things which are important or which will give a directive to the command line, but I'm using the space within this file name. So I have this file name here, which I can copy, but not like this. This will not work. Especially because it's C and not copy. Sorry. It says that something is wrong because you should use the cp command with giving the source file and the target file. And what we did actually, we gave one file and a space, or one string, then a space and another string, space and another string. So this is not what we should do. The CP now thinks that we want to copy test to with and doesn't know what is space here. So if you want to copy this file, you can do the same way as I did before, saying test/space with /space space, and then saying, let's say test2. And this way it will copy, but it's much, much better not to use. If you have anything with space or special characters, use the tab, because tab will know how to write the file name and say test underline with space. It's completely okay to use file names like this. There won't be any problem with a file name like this. Yeah, and as Marcus says, you can use the double quotes or single quotes. Okay, so we are through the main file commands. The permission system I wrote, but I won't go for the permission systems again. What you have to know, if this is nothing, then it should be a file. If this is a D, then it's a directory or a folder. The first character here, this is about the owner. Again, this is about the group, and this is about everyone else. And if you want to change these things, you just have to say chmod, changing the mode of or the permission way of the file, and say that I would like to make this writable for the group G plus W test1. But this is already discussed last time, so I won't go into this again. If you want to give, you use plus. If you want to take that permission away, you use minus. And the third thing, which is not visible here, is X, which is for executable files. Okay, so what can we do if you want to just look into the file? Of course, we don't have anything in these files. These are 0 bytes long. So let's now put in something. The easiest way to edit a file in the console is nano. It's a small text editor program. As soon as you go into the nano, you will use the nano shortcuts and keys. You will see. So let's edit test1. Just simply nano test1. I hope it's working on every consoles. It should be. So as you see here, we have a nice header, and we have a completely empty file, and we have the shortcuts for if you want to do something with your file. So let's just put in something. First line. I think there is also a line number somewhere. I don't use nano too often, to be honest, but it's not that important at the moment. Okay, so if we want to save this, then here is the write out, which is this house, like roof, and O, which, so this is actually means it's a control. It's not the command, not even on the Mac. It's control. It's always the control key. So you just push Control and O. It will ask if you really want to save this into test1. Yes, I want to. So I just push Enter, and it is saved. And as you see here, Control X is there for going out. So now we are back in our core stamp folder, and now test1 is not empty anymore. It's 35 bytes. Sometimes you don't really want to edit a file, just look into the file. There are two very easy ways to look the contents of a file. If it's a small file, you can just simply put it on your screen. And for that, you can use the cat command. Yes, so if you are in the nano editor, you have to save your what you wrote first with Ctrl-O and then hit enter and then Ctrl-X to exit. Let me go back and show you. So I'm here and I'm writing a fourth line. I'm hitting Ctrl-O and enter. So it is saved and then Ctrl and X. Is it okay? Are you back? Okay. Okay, so as I said, the easiest way to, let's clear my console just to see it a bit better. You can always use the clear command if you want to get rid of a lot of things on your console. So I'm using cat and test1. It will just put the content of your file into your console. Of course, you don't want to do this with a few gigabytes big FASTQ file, because then you will just sit here and wait until all these lines will be printed on your terminal, or you have to push Ctrl-C to stop the flow of the information. If you don't want to mess up your console, you can open the file for just reading, and the easiest way is to use the less command. Less test1, and you are in the file. You can see it, and if you want to quit, just simply push Q. Usually, if you are stuck in any kind of program, first try Q, then Ctrl-C, and then maybe Ctrl-X, or try to find out what the program really wants. Sometimes Ctrl-D is working as well. So you have to know the less command. You will use the less command a lot. Sometimes the cat, if you have a small file. There are two other, and nano if you want to edit. And there are two very useful things, especially if you have a huge file, especially if you have something which is running and you want to check if it's running really, what's the situation with the running. So for example, there are many programs that are making log files every 1 minute or every 10 minutes or after every internal step. They write out a line that I am, okay, Panchali is going, but you will see the recording later, so goodbye. So many programs will put out what is happening inside your running as a log time to time. And if you want to just check where the program is at the moment, so you want to see the end of your log file, you can use the tail command. The tail command, and if we tail test1, it is printing out the last 10 lines. So if you say man, so look at the manual of tail, then you can see that in default, the starting location is -n10, which means that it is 10 lines from the end, or the last 10 lines of the input. The input is the file what we want to see from the manual. Again, I will queue it with Q. But if I only want to see the last 2 lines, I can say tail -n2, which is my 4th line, and I also have a 5th line, which is empty. So that's why these 2 lines are my 2 last line. Let's see, this is the tail of my file, and with the same kind of very useful command, especially if you, for example, you have a huge data set or a big table, and you don't remember what you have in which folder, in which column. Checking the header of a table is very useful sometimes, so you can use the head. I'm writing into the chat. So if I'm just simply say head test 1, then again, it's the first 10 lines, which is the first 5, because I only have 5 lines. But if I only want to see the first line, which is usually the header of a table, then I have to say how many. And it's only the first line. I guess it's only working like this. Yeah, it's working. It's the shortest way. You can also say -1 or -n1. So the main programs you will need to look into, edit, and print out part of the files. First of all, the less, nano if you want to edit, cat if you want to print it to your screen or want to give it to another program. I will show you this very soon. And head and tail if you want to just look into the beginning or the end. A very useful thing if you want to follow your run. Let's see what is less. Yeah, that's how you can. And the reason is because you can also use more. I don't want it to tell you, but you can also use more the same way, more test 1. And it's not opening in like a new output window, but it's putting it here. But you are in the more, so you also have to push Q if you want to go out from it. In my view, the less is much better to use than more. Let's see what is more. What? Oh, that's interesting. So if I check the manual, yeah. If I check the manual of more, it is actually the less. Oh yeah, you cannot really go back in more. I think this whole thing is coming from like something very old kind of terminal there were only just a few comments, and then they figured out that it would be much better to make a bit more versatile file viewer, and that's why they did less, which is a bit better than more, even if it's less than the opposite, but it's better, so it's more than more. Right, let's go forward. As you saw, I don't know if you saw that, when I say man more or man less, this is actually also the same kind of thing what if you would open a file in less. So you can also go up and down with the arrow keys. You can also quit with the Q. So you are actually looking the manual of less with itself. It's also good for very simple searches. It's not really the same as, I mean, it's kind of same like if you want to search something in a Word document, but I wouldn't use that. I don't really use this kind of search too often. But if you just want to look for example, the command more, you just push the slash. That's why it changed from column. It's always a column here. If I push slash, then I can just write in anything. So here, down in the bottom left corner, I now wrote in more, push, and it will highlight more in the text. And I can also jump with N which is the next instance of more. Okay. As soon as you start creating files, copying files, you are filling up your space. So the next very important thing is to learn how to check how much space you have on your computer. And for this, we are using the DF, which stands for display free disk space, okay? If you just simply say DF, it's a bit ugly. If you say DF minus H, as we already saw with LS, with many other programs, minus H is only helping you to read a bit better. So it's in a human readable format. On Mac, it's quite nasty even after minus H. But what you have to find on a Mac is probably something which is not 0 and not 100% full, hopefully, and which has quite a lot of space. So for example, for me, this is my main hard drive with 500 gigabytes of storage space, which is not true. It's only 466. From this is the size column. This is how much I'm using, in percentage, and how much is available. Very, very important. If you are on your own computer, this is how you can see. If you are on your in-house server, which is my Pi, it is almost the same. So the Raspberry Pi only has a 32 gigabyte flash SD card as the hard drive. So this is the complete, the full size of my storage, from which I'm using about 8 gigabytes, but there is 20 gigabytes available anyway. On the HPC, you can say df minus h, and what you will see are these extremely huge storage devices with P here. P is petabyte, so these are 2,100 terabyte drives, not one, but 5. But this is not, it doesn't mean that you have like these hundreds of terabytes of free space. On the HPC, you cannot really work on any space you want. You have a quota, and for that, you have to use the quota command, which will show you how many space you were paying for. So this is an RDS, a research data storage, which for this one we have 25 gigabytes. I don't know if I say it didn't make too much difference. Yeah, so this is actually in megabytes. Yeah, it's gig. Yeah, no, tera. It's gigabytes. Yes, because we have 25 tera. So on the HPC, you know how much you have in total, what is your quota and what is your limit, how much data you have there, and also there is a file limit, so you cannot really put too many very small files. It's also limited on the HPC, but in many cases, if you are on your own computer or your in-house server, df and df minus h will help you to see how much space you have. If you want to find which folder is the one which is containing most of your files, so for example, if I'm going up back to my home folder and I'm looking for the size of my small core stamp folder, then I can say du, which stands for display disk usage as well, but you can here now, you can ask for a file disk usage, or you can ask for a folder disk usage. So I can say du course temp, and it will say it's only using 8, I think it's kilobyte probably. If I'm saying the same on my downloads, where of course I have much more. Nice. I didn't want to print out full downloads folder, but it's now here. And actually you are only want to see this big number, which is again, it's in bytes. So here a du minus h is much better. And I'm also using s quite often. And am I using? Oh, but actually that's for all the files inside, which I didn't want to. Okay, so let's just say du minus h. And again, downloads. But I don't really want to put all the contents here again. So instead of printing everything into my console, I will do the trick which we already saw last time, but I think there isn't enough time to repeat it. So we will give the standard output of du minus h to another program, and I will just print out the last line, what we saw before. So I will say tail minus n1. So here, tail minus n, or tail, will not read in a file, but it will read the input from the du standard output. This vertical line means that you are giving the output of this command to this command. We will do this many, many times in the future, so you will be completely okay with this pipe. It's called pipe. So don't worry if you forget it for next time. We will do it many times later. So now I'm only having the very last line of this so many things, and because I used minus h, it is now a human readable format, and I know that my downloads folder contains almost 40 gigabytes of data, which is quite a lot. So this was df and du. We had this one already. And lastly, I think, for today, I would like to give you or show you a few programs which we will use. Again, you don't have to learn these right away now. You just have to see at least once, and then these programs will come out many, many times later. So you don't have to worry if you don't remember all these commands. There will be actually 5 programs I think will be very useful in the future. So the first one is WC, which stands for not the loop, but word count, word, line, character, and byte count. So if we go back to my course temp folder, we know that we have 2 empty files, so we don't have to count how many characters or lines we have. But the test one is not empty, so I can do vc test one. So test one contains 5 lines, 8 words, and 47 characters. If you're just looking for the characters, or if you're just looking for the words or the line numbers, you can use vc minus l for lines, vc minus w for word, and I think it's vc minus m for the characters. Again, if you go to the manual of the VC, you can see all these things. Yes, it's M. the number of characters in each input file is written to the number of bytes. Okay, so the -c is, yeah, that's a good question. Why? Because it should be C as character, but the -c is used for the number of bytes. I think is it different in this case? No, it's not different. Because one character is in 1 byte. Yeah. Yeah, I think you can also use -c. It's actually a very easy way. For example, if you have a FASTA file, I don't know if I have any FASTA files. Okay, let's download a FASTA file because this will also come out later. Yeah, you can also use C. So let's go up to Uniprot and download FASTA file. Let's download DMD human, which is the human dystrophin protein. We are just looking for the FASTA file. And can you see my Safari? I hope you can. So you just, what you want to do, if you go up to Uniprot and you look for any kind of protein you like, you go to Format and FASTA, canonical. So you have the FASTA file here. Instead of copy and paste the sequence itself, just copy and paste this here. So the URL for the file, and we will download this. And this is the second program I wanted to show you, which is wget, a very, very useful program. If you have a Linux command line and you put the URL into the clipboard, then the way how you can put it here. The problem is that my terminal, even if I'm in Linux, it's a Mac terminal. But the way is to say right click and just say paste. It will be there. So the right click and paste is working in Linux as well. In Mac, the Command C and Command V is working as well. So if you are in your course temp folder, just simply say wget. Oh my God, we don't have wget on the Mac. Sorry, I'm really sorry. This is how it should look like. Of course, I cannot do it because I didn't change the folder where I am. I'm continuously in the /var/log folder where I don't have the permission to write anything. So I have to go back to my course temp folder and say wget here as well, wget. And this is how it should look like. Is there any alternative for wget on the Mac? I wonder. You can always just simply ask Google. Sorry that I'm doing it here. Okay, you can install with Homebrew. That's one thing what we will learn later, how do we install things with Homebrew, but it should look like this. Yeah, it's easy, but we won't cover any installing today because it's more than enough for today, I think. What we discussed already, all the Conda, Brew, GitHub, and source installs will come out in a course later. Okay, so I have now this FASTA file here. nice and big. If you just want to know how many amino acids you have, how big is this protein, of course you can say head, and it's probably there. Oh no, it's not there. The size is not here in the FOSTA header. But what you can do, and this is where we will meet with the next very useful command, which is grep. So with grep, you can look for special things in your special characters or special strings within your file, text file. So if I'm grepping this string in my FOSTA file, how to bring save files? What do you mean? If you have Mac, you cannot really use the wget at the moment, wget. So you can save files by just simply putting them there with your Windows Explorer. So you have to have this, or if you have a Linux, then the wget works. If you have a Mac, it's not too easy to see this folder because on the Finder, it won't show up. If you have a Finder, you have to go to Preferences, and you have to check in this box, which is not LK397, of course, for you, but this is your home directory, which is hidden or not visible in your sidebar in default. So if you click this, which is your name, of course, or your username here, then I have it here, and I have my course temp here, and then you can just use, this time, just simply use the Finder to put files there. But next time we will have the wget as well. So if I'm grepping this string from the file, then it will print out those lines which are having this. Also, it's a bit colored, as you can see, it's red. But I only have that line there. But I don't really want to know what is my header line because I can easily see that with head. I want to know how many amino acids I have in this protein. So what I can do, I can use the grep -v. So with -v, I'm printing out every line which doesn't have this string in it. So as you can see, I have the sequence here only, nothing else, just the sequence. So the next thing what we will do, because we want to count how many characters we have, is that we will, instead of putting it on the screen, we are using again the vertical line, which is a pipe, and give this output to VC as an input, WC. So as we see, we have 62 lines, and we have 3,747 characters. I guess this is not really the size of the protein, and I will tell you why. The size is usually, it's not due from here. Yes, no, it's not that small. Isoform 1, what we are looking for, and the sequence. Oh, it's 3,685. So it's way much less. The reason why we have this here, and it's actually exactly this one, minus this. So what we don't see here is that we have an extra character at the end of each line, which is counted in the character number. So here what you don't see, there is something else here. It's an invisible character which tells the console, tells the programs which are opening this file that there should be a new line there. It's an invisible new line character, which is counted into this one as well. So actually, the amino acid number is all of the characters minus the line number in this case. But this is also a trap if you are working with sequence files. Most of the time you are downloading sequence files with new lines, full of new lines. So if you are looking for a sequence and you are looking for example, with grep, if I'm looking for this sequence here, let's try. Then I will find it because it's there. But if I'm looking for this sequence, which is, of course, this TMMVM is after the VREE. First of all, it's very hard to write this in, of course. Don't do this. But if I just write this here, let's see. I don't think so, but anyway, anything what was that is find it, especially if I don't give the file name. It won't find because the simple Unix or Linux command line doesn't know that it's a sequence which is continuing. The string is actually continuing on the next line. So if you want to handle sequences as full sequence, you have to remove the new line characters from the end of the line, which will be one of our very first small programs in the future. So we already saw what wget does. You can use it to download things from the internet. You can use wc to count how many words, how many lines, and how many characters you have in the file. You can use grep to quickly search for a special text in your file. And there is only one thing I want to show you, which is cut. So cut is there if you want to take out a piece of a line, especially if the line is segmented with spaces or tabs. So let's just see the first line of this file. As you can see, there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces here. And actually, if you are only interested in the name of the protein, you don't need the whole line. You just need the second thing from here. So if I, again, use pipe, and instead of printing out the whole line, I just give it to cut, and I would like to see only the second field. The problem here is that cut using tabs, I think, in default, not spaces to separate parts. So we have to say minus d space. So what I told here, take the output, get the output from head, print out the second field by using space as the delimiter. Is the same what you would do when you are reading in data into Excel. You have to give what is the special thing which is separating your columns, your cells from each other. So we will use cut again very often because what we have as an output in bioinformatics is very often a tabular format, so a tab separated data. And if you just want to look into one of the columns quickly, then you can just simply use cut. And I won't go further, I think, today, because it's already quite a lot. But if you had any question you haven't asked yet, then I'm very happy to answer it now. And I will stop my share now. Any questions? Comments? So you mean, Costa, is that if you can just turn on your microphone as well now, because it's okay. So if you are working on a server, you mean?
No, it's because I remember the second session you were talking about some reading materials, but I don't know where you're uploading those, or how can we access the recording? Is there like
Those
a
ones,
space?
yeah. It will be in the following emails. It's
Okay,
I'm
cool.
working on it, and there is one people here in the room who already saw my YouTube channel.
Oh, I was not aware about the YouTube channel. Is that
yeah,
where?
because I haven't advertised it yet, but it will be there. So all these links, the links to these slides and the links to the presentation, the recorded presentations will be there as well from now on in every email. Every emails I will write. The only reason why I haven't advertised it, because it's only having the very first one, because the second one was like a half recording only. So I have to sit down here sometimes and record myself for the first part of that and then put together and upload. But I really hope I will be able to do it this weekend. So it will be there. The slides, I think that for the slides, I will just use a Google folder and it will be there as well.
Great, thanks.
Do you think because I also usually give you links or resources what you should check. Is it okay if it's just in the email, or should I also collect them in some kind of text file in the Google folder? So having the topic of that call, of that meeting, and putting the links, the useful links there. Or you can just simply check your emails if you want.
I rather prefer, well, I don't know the rest, but I rather prefer having like a share folder that is easier to access rather than like fish out the emails.
Okay.
But I don't know what other people think.
Okay, I will put it in there as well. Then. Okay, text file. It will be a text file which can be opened only by less or more, or more or less. As I said, we will use these things very, very often in later. So you will, even if you don't memorize all of them now, if you don't know all of them now, you will see these in action later. So don't worry.